Welcome to this first ever guest episode of What Would They Do? Exciting. This is where I invite an expert in their field to answer your burning customer experience questions. And today's question goes a little like this. What do you do when you love what you do, but you don't want to sell your work? Which is something I'm sure most of you have struggled with at some point on your business journey. So, to answer today's question, I've invited the amazing Karen Gillen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So good to finally meet you too. I've, followed you for a while. We're in the Mixer together. So, always nice to actually have a conversation and dive deeper into your expertise.
Yes, so fun.
Yes. So before we dive in, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do, who you serve, and how you got here?
Long and windy road. So I'm a coach at heart and a business owner at heart. I grew up in a lot of family businesses. And so for me, it was always like, well, what will the business be? Not would I or would I not be in business? So I work with a lot of coaches. I help coaches get their businesses off the ground and get them sustainable. I also help a lot of coaches recover from doing a lot of wild and crazy online business things that didn't end up being sustainable for them and help them find their way to something that does feel really good. And I've been doing it for about 15 years.
Wow. Feels like a little
Yeah.
lifetime, I'm sure.
I'm Coach Grandma over here.
But you know what? Experience, right? You would have seen so many trends in inverted commas come and go. And as you said, so many, fads that people jumped on thinking it's going to solve all their problems.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything is a shiny object. But I think what's so fun is like what makes you inevitable? That's always my question for folks.
Yeah, right. It needs to be sustainable. Totally believe in that. And, as a mum, there's only so many hats you can add to your plate. So you need to find what lights you up and what works for your customers, obviously. So selling, as we said before, really feels so icky. And often, coaches don't get into coaching for the marketing and sales side of things. They really want to, support their customers with, making progress. But unfortunately, selling goes with the territory. So, do you have some insights for us, your secret sauce for making selling feel more aligned with, what works for you, as you said, and also, how the customer potentially can organically work out that you're the right coach for them?
So I think the first thing we want to start with is the language around selling, right? Like most of us have been taught that salespeople are bad. They're going to come after you. They're going to make you do something you're uncomfortable with. They're going to take your money. And I think what we have to note is selling done in that way is extractive. And so rather than calling that selling, why don't we call it extracting? I don't teach people how to extract money from others. I teach people how to help them.
Love
And
that.
at the true heart of a great sale, the kind of sale where when we come together, you feel seen, I feel seen, and we make more good in the world because we did. That's selling. And if you're not doing it that way, then just stop. Like, stop what you're doing. Something's not working right. And we have to open the door to it getting to be that way so that we can be okay doing it. Because none of the people that we work with are looking at other human beings and thinking, how can I get the most money out of them I can? That's just not what my clients aren't saying that. Are your clients saying that?
No,
Never,
absolutely
I've
not.
never
No.
heard it, right? So, and
No.
that would be that extractive, like there's a person, there's my target, and I'm going to just suck the life out of them and get as much money as I can. None of us want to do that. What we want to do is like, if I can help you, I want to offer to help you in a way that you can receive it. And I think that's what selling is
Yeah,
at its
love
best.
that. Love your terminology as well, like helping people rather than extracting the most money. And ultimately, I think if you're coming at it from that helping perspective, it really puts your customer front and center of everything as well. So rather than getting that quick sale and pushing your sales agenda onto people, it really lets your customer, your audience, decide when they're ready to work with you, right?
Right. And it really lets you just lean back. Like, if you actually want what I have, if you need it, I've got it. If you don't, it's okay. I can like tell you where to go. Like, if you're actually looking for this other thing, I can actually probably introduce you to that person, because we all know so many of each other. You're doing great work, right?
Love it. It's that perspective shift from, taking to giving, really. Giving
Really?
and serving and just being of help. I think if we all shifted to that mindset a little bit more and stopped following the gurus, if you want to call them that way, where funnel leads into funnel and hard sell. And,
Right.
if you are on someone's email list and you're not actually dropping dollars, you're not of value. I think we all really need to step away from that and treat people like human beings and, realize that not everyone is in a position to invest right
Yeah.
now.
And that's like how it's supposed to work.
Exactly right. And, some people just love to follow along and be in your orbit as well for a while to suss out whether you're right for them.
Isn't that fun? Like, you can have groupies
Yes.
on your email list. That's okay.
Yeah, I love a good conversation with people who have never bought from me. I'm not sure they're ever going to buy from me, but just that one-on-one conversation and actually knowing that people are reading my emails and engaging with my content is, really lights me up as well.
Yeah, I think that thing that can get in the way is like, if we're looking at our email list, like, these people need to buy from me. Again, that's extractive. It's transactional versus relational. And it can be like, I'm going to write this email for the people who do want to buy from me. Everyone else can just follow along. And if it's more than they can handle, they can leave, and that's okay. Like, if they're done being in this relationship in that way, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But you still have to, even when those people are there not buying, we still have to sell, relate to the people who are buyers, who we do want to work with and who do want what we have to offer.
Yeah. And you know what? People who opt into your list and hang around clearly resonate with what you have to say. So talking about having to sell to your list at some point, how do you approach this in your business? I'm sure, coming from a helping perspective and a helping angle, you have some strategies and some way that you like to sell to your audience. Can you share a little bit about that with our listeners?
I like the serve first approach. So the second you get on my email list, I don't want it to be about me selling you something. I like to host events where I teach people things, or like right now I'm doing how to sell like a human. And it's really like my entire sales process. And I teach people because I want them to know how to sell on a sales call. I teach them how I think about it. I give them the format for how to run a sales call. And I answer all the questions that I possibly can about it. And then after that, I say, if you like this kind of teaching and you like this kind of support, you're welcome to join me inside of my membership. So I think about it as invitations, like, let's get to know each other. How can I help you? If you want more of that, come over here. But there is no, I'm not writing a sales letter every single time. At least I don't try to.
Yeah. I love the invitation process and really just getting people to put their hand up and show their interest. Do you, how do you approach emailing your list about those open invitations, the events? Do you exclude people after a while if they haven't shown any interest as such in the events, or you keep extending the invite?
There are people on my list who were there 10 years ago when I was an intuitive eating coach.
Mm.
And I just keep treating everyone the same, whether they are there for who even knows why they came on there, because I've made a bunch of shifts in 15 years, right?
Yeah.
But I always invite everyone. It's the same way I think about other people's wallets. Like, I'm not going to decide whether you can afford this or not. That's your job. I'm also not going to decide whether or not you should come to this or not. That's also your job. So I'm going to put the invitation out to everybody. Sometimes that means people unsubscribe. I'll do an opt out of a sales process. So if you're on my main list and I want to run an entire sales process to something going on, I'll say, if you don't want to hear about this anymore, click here on those emails. But I give everyone the chance. And sometimes even the people who are in the program don't get opted out. And I tell them, I'm leaving you all on so you can see all these emails and see how this process goes, because so many of my clients are doing exactly what I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it would help your coaches to see how,
Right.
your approach works in action. So sometimes
Yeah.
it's that show, don't tell approach, right? Taking
Right.
them behind the scenes, taking them along for
Yeah.
the journey, and showing what you're doing in your business. Can you tell me a little bit more about your Sell Like a Human approach? Because I'm really intrigued. Obviously, fits really well with the concept of this podcast, and making your customer and your audience the center of everything you do.
Yeah. So it's really about, how do we focus on the individual who's showing up for the call? Because if you think about a consultation call, how many times does a grown human show up for one of those in their life? Like as coaches who hire coaches, we probably do the most out of anybody. But the general population, might hire one, maybe 3 coaches in their whole life, might have a consultation call with a doctor sometime about something, or might go see a car salesman. But I think it's this really unique opportunity that we get to host and lead this experience for someone who doesn't do things like this very often. And we ask really intimate questions about their life. We ask them all about their problems. We expect them to share vulnerably with us and tell us all about how their life sucks in these certain areas. We ask them to tell us about their greatest dreams, hopes, and aspirations, which they don't probably share with even their partner fully most of the time. So we're having this incredibly privileged conversation. And a lot of what I'm talking about is how do we honor it in that way? How do we hold space for them? How do we make sure that we don't accidentally do something silly that makes them leave when they've just poured their heart out to you, when you actually could have helped them? So it's really a lot about honoring the human where they are, making sure that you've taken care of yourself so that you're not distracted. Things like never, ever, ever negotiate about the price of your offer in your mind when you're on a sales call, because all that does is take all the energy away from them and put it on yourself. You always just say, I'm going to send you a proposal tomorrow, right? You got to have these lines in your back pocket that support you to really stay with them. Because sometimes someone gets on these calls and you're like, I can help them, but it's going to be completely different than how I've done it before. And that's okay. But we're going to need a little time to put together a package, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that. It's so true in a coaching capacity. There's so much trust that comes with opening yourself up to someone, whether it's, life coaching, even business coaching, working out what you've been doing wrong the whole time and what those mindset blocks are that have been holding you back. It's quite confrontational. So, I love that you teach these strategies that support your coaches to build that trust and give people confidence in processes. How do you have any processes around the trust building component? Again, obviously you're holding space for people on those calls. Is there anything around the call that potentially comes after or before even to build that element of trust to even jump on those calls?
Yeah. The whole journey, like what you do.
Yeah.
I always just think about, if somebody pops into my world, I need to grab their hand and I need to lead them where they need to go. Because when we're new places, we feel unsafe, even if we don't realize it. We don't know what's going on. We don't know what we're supposed to wear. We don't know what time lunch is, right? So all of the things like I liked your email reminders for this podcast. It's time to get excited. In 4 hours, we have our interview, right? Things like sending a reminder email that the call is coming up. At the start of a call, I like to say here's how this call is going to work. I'm going to ask you a whole bunch of questions. And at the end, you'll have time to ask questions too. And then together, we're going to decide if now's the right time and if I'm the right person for you. And really create the space, they know what's going to happen, and lead them through it. And when you end the call, the same thing. I usually end up asking people if they want to think about it. When are you thinking you're going to have your answer by? And they might say, I need the weekend. I'm like, great. If I haven't heard from you by Monday at 5, I'm going to reach out just to make sure we follow up and circle back and get your answer. Whatever it is, I'm here for it.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
love that. Love how you're not only holding space, building trust, but also set expectations around
Yeah.
every step
All the
of
next
the
steps.
customer journey. Because so often I feel, as business owners, we obviously know our process, we know what's involved, but as you said, so many times you make this appointment and you're not quite sure what to expect, even who's on the other end. You might have followed someone along, someone on Instagram for a while, been on their email list, but it's a whole different thing to be on a one-on-one call. So yeah, super clever to set the expectations before, during, and after the call as well. And that buy-in to, get permission to follow up. I think that's important as well.
Yeah, because otherwise I found I was like negotiating with my own self about like, oh God, is it too early? Is it too late? Should I let him contact me? Like anywhere where you're going to get into your own anxiety about how things should work, you should decide those things ahead of time. And I think one of the greatest tools for me is just thinking through what would I want done for myself and create your journey in a way that it is at least as good as you would want for yourself in that first round. And then think through like, well, what if I were someone who was a little more excited or a little more anxious? Or if I'm someone who has a lot of questions, like, does this work for the different kinds of decision makers and thinkers that are going to be coming through?
Yeah, so clever. Again, anticipating what might come up as an objection or as a hesitation is so clever. And also, people really expect coaches or business owners to step up and take charge of the project. If I come out to hire you and put you in charge of, my business journey or, my customer experience, your dreams, your life journey, it's a big deal. Like, I want to feel like you can take control of the process.
I need you to know that you have your stuff together.
Exactly. I need to know that you have a plan and it's not just this piece together ad hoc approach. So yeah, love that. You're so strategic with it and really you hold people's hands at every step of the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have, before we wrap up, because we like our episodes bite-sized, do you have any action steps, so practical things that people who are listening and who are curious to incorporate this, human first approach in their sales calls, in their selling strategies that they can implement after this episode?
I think something that doesn't come up often in sales, so I want to bring it up on this one in particular, is it's okay to love people. I think oftentimes we can be afraid of clients, or we can be trying to keep people at bay, or I don't know, like it's okay just to let yourself love them and make really sure. Like, I think one of the things that a sales call process does is the client has to prove to you that they really want to do it, that now is the right time, and that they're the right client for you and you're the right practitioner for them in whatever you're doing. Right. So I think like, let yourself love this human being and see them and witness them and whatever's going on. And then make sure, like, really hold them off until I can wholeheartedly serve you. And by doing that, you will have asked enough questions and given them enough opportunity to feel the emotions that they actually need to feel in order to buy, and buy without remorse. But we have to have all that curiosity about like, is it the right time? But let me check. Can they really do it right now? Right? Like, are you sure you want to work with me? Because they're, I hear you say this or this, but maybe some other fit would be better for you. Like, you do want to figure out that like they're going to come in and be successful, and that they're going to feel that like, no, I really want this, by you going through all those kinds of questions.
Yeah, love this. So it's such a clever approach again. Just sort of not only vetting that you're the right fit, but making sure they're actually committed enough to get the results, which obviously works in their favor, but also your favor, because, there's no point you and them wasting your time. So, really leading with curiosity, asking enough questions to make sure you're the right fit is such a good starting point. Awesome. One question I ask all my guests, in line with the theme of this podcast, what's a burning question that you have when it comes to the customer experience, and who would you love to answer that question for you?
I mean, can I have you answer the question?
Yeah, I can totally
You're an
skim it in the
expert.
next. Yeah, I can
Right?
come up with a future episode and answer your question.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So one of the things I'm thinking about all the time, because I started a membership last year,
Ooh, yes.
is that, like, how do we keep people tuned in and using the stuff that's always there for them? Right? So it's like,
So good.
okay, this stuff is evergreen. It's always sitting there. You could get it any day of the week, but how do we help them get to what will really help them in the moment?
So good. Love it. It's on my list for future
Okay.
episodes, and I
Good.
will let you know when it's out there. I've got so many ideas, but have to wait for the episode. So, yeah. Awesome.
Perfect.
Great question. I love it. Before we wrap up, as per usual, I would love to invite listeners. If you are going, oh my God, I need Nadine or her guest expert like Karen to answer my burning question, you can submit the question in the show notes anonymously, or if you feel like a little shout out on the episode, you can totally drop your business name there. And if you enjoyed this episode, I'd love you to follow, subscribe, share with your besties, anyone who might be remotely interested. And thanks so much for joining me on the show, Karen. So lovely to chat. And thanks for tuning in. If you have enjoyed Karen's nuggets of gold as much as I have, then I highly recommend connecting with Karen over on Instagram via the link in the show notes. And while you're there, grab the free 5 ways to make coaching your marketing guide ebook via the link in the show notes as well.